getting my things.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تمسك بسنته بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, after praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending the salutations upon the Messenger alayhi salatu wassalam, and upon his family and his companions, and upon all those who follow upon his guidance until the establishment of the last day. To proceed, ikhwan, Allahumma inna na'udhu bika min ilmin la yanfa' wa min qalbin la yakhsha' wa min nafsin la tashba' wa min du'a'in la yusma'. Verily, Ya Allah, we seek refuge with you from knowledge that has no benefit, and from a heart that has no fear, and from a soul that has no satisfaction nor contentment, and from a dua that goes unanswered, and from a dua that goes unanswered. To proceed, إخوان, فنواصل معكم في هذه الليلة المباركة الكريمة عونا من الرحمن الرحيم. So we continue in this blessed and noble night of ours, seeking the aid and the assistance of our Lord, the most merciful and the most compassionate. مستفيدين متعلمين من علم الحديث, as we continue to learn and derive benefit from the science of al-hadith, min mustalah al-hadith, meaning from the technical classifications of al-hadith. طيب, من كتاب الإمام البيقوني رحمه الله تعالى, and we're reading from the words of the noble Shaykh Imam al-Bayquni, may Allah have mercy upon him, وجميع العلماء, جميع العلماء, and all of the scholars of Islam. طيب, أين وصلنا يا إخوان? Where did we arrive?
We studied model.
الحديث المعضل.
We finished the 19 as well. Today we're gonna go on 20.
جميلا. طيب, انتهينا بالحديث المنقطع. We completed the hadith that is called المنقطع. وتعلمنا الحديث الذي يسمى المعضل. We also learned the hadith, والحمد لله, that is called المعضل. فمن يذكرنا بتعريف المنقطع؟ بتعريف المنقطع. So who can give us the definition of the hadith that is called al-munqati', the broken hadith? Ishmatullah.
It is a hadith that the chain is not complete.
It's the hadith in which the chain is not complete. Ahsant. طيب. هل كل مرسل منقطع? Is every hadith that is mursal, is this hadith broken? Massive. If the tabi'i says, قال رسول الله, is this chain broken? The answer is no. من يساعد أخانا? Who can help our beloved brother?
Yes.
الجواب نعم. If the tabi'i يقول قال النبي, هذا الحديث منقطع. لماذا? If the tabi'i says the prophet said, this chain is broken. Why is it broken? Father Sheikh. أحسنت. سقط الصحابي. طيب, because here a companion is missing. لأن التابعي هو الذي لم يلقى النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام. عليه الصلاة والسلام. Because the hadith that is mursal, it is the hadith that the tabi'i says قال رسول الله, and the tabi'iyun, they never met the messenger. So therefore هذا سند منقطع. This chain is broken. طيب, وتعلمنا الحديث المعضل, and we also learned the hadith that is معضل. فما هو الحديث المعضل? What's the hadith that's معضل? حشمة الله, تفضل.
Is the hadith which two narration is by like in order.
Accent in order.
Yes.
Two people are missing. Accent. فما هو الفرق بين المنقطع والمعضل? Abu Siddiq, what's the difference between the munqati' and the mu'dal?
منقطع is the Sahabi is missing, and Mu'dal
two ravis missing.
And the mu'dal, two narrators على التوالي in order are missing, are sent. طيب قال والمعضل ساقط منه اثنان. طيب من يريد أن يقرأ من والمعضل إلى where did we get to يا إخوان؟ وأول سقاط.
You should remember as from the beginning, go over to Mu'dal as review.
جميلا.
So we didn't get no homework last week.
We didn't do no homework last week.
Yeah, you should review.
طيب فمن يريد أن يقرأ من بداية إلى والمعضل حتى نرى من راجع ومن لم يراجع. So who wants to recite from the beginning? Let's go back. We gave you no homework last week and we asked that the students make muraja'a. So let's see who made muraja'a from the beginning all the way to والمعضل. من يريد أن يقرأ? Who wants to recite? تفضل يا شيخ.
أبدأ بالحمد مصليا على محمد خير نبي مرسلا الذي من أقسام الحديث عدة وكل واحد أتى وحده. أولها الصحيح وهو ما اتصل إسناده ولم يشد أو يعد يرويه عدل ضابط عن مثله معتمدا في ضبطه ونقله. والحسن المعروف طرقا وغدت رجاله ذاك الصحيح اشتهرت. وكل ما عن رتبة الحسن قصر فهو الضعيف وهو أقساما كثر. وما أضيف للنبي المرفوع وما لتابع هو المقطوع والمسند المتصل الإسناد من راويه حتى المصطفى ولم يدل. وما بسمع كل راو يتصل إسناده للمصطفى كالمتصل مسلسل قل ما على وصف أتى مثل أما والله أنباني الفتى. كذاك قد حدثنيه قائما أو بعد أن حدثني تبسما. عزيز مروي اثنين أو ثلاثة مشهور مروي فوق ما ثلاثة. وعن عنك عن سعيد عن كرم ومبهم ما فيه راو لم يسم. وكل ما قلت رجاله على وضده ذاك الذي قد نزل. وما أضفته إلى الأصحاب من قول وفعل فهو موقوف زك ومرسل منه الصحابي سقط. وقل غريب ما روى راو فقط. وكل ما لم يتصل بحال إسناده منقطع الأوصال. والمعضل الساقط منه اثنان وما أتى مدلسا نوعان.
ما شاء الله أحسنت وبارك الله فيكم. May Allah bless you. علما وخلقا وأدبا, your knowledge, your manners, your adab, your character. ومن أيضا هو يا إخوان من البداية from the beginning إن شاء الله إلى والمعضل into والمعضل. تفضل شيخ.
أبدأ بالحمد مصليا على محمد خير نبي أرسلا وذي من أقسام الحديث عدة وكل واحد أتى وحده. أولها الصحيح وهو متصل إسناده ولم يشذ أو يعل يرويه عدل ضابط عن مثله معتمد في ضبطه ونقله. والحسن المعروف طرقا وغدت رجاله لا كالصحيح اشتهرت. وكل ما عن رتبة الحسن قصر فهو الضعيف وهو أقسام كثر. وما أضيف للنبي المرفوع وما لتابع هو المقطوع والمسند المتصل الإسناد من راويه حتى المصطفى ولم يبن. وما أتى بكل راو يتصل وما بسمع كل راو يتصل إسناده للمصطفى فالمتصل مسلسل قل ما على وصف أتى مثل أما والله أنباني الفتى. كذا قد حدثنيه قائما أو بعد أن حدثني تبسما. عزيز مروي اثنين أو ثلاثة مشهور المروي فوق ما ثلاثة. معنعن كعن سعيد عن كرم ومبهم ما فيه راو لم يسم. وكل ما قلت رجاله على وضده ذاك الذي قد نزل. وما أضفته إلى الأصحاب من قول وفعل فهو موقوف زك. ومرسل منه الصحابي سقط. وقل غريب ما روى راو فقط. وكل ما لم يتصل بحال إسناده منقطع الوصال. والمعضل الساقط منه اثنان وما أتى مدلسا نوعان.
ما شاء الله، أحسنت وبارك الله فيكم. May Allah bless you علما وخلقا وأدبا, and your knowledge, your manners, and your character يا إخوان. ومن أيضا هو يا إخوان من البداية يريد أن يراجع, who wants to recite? No sisters today يا إخوان, لا بأس. تفضل يا شيخ.
أبدأ بالحمد مصليا على محمد خير النبي أرسلا وذي من نقصان حديث عدة وكل واحد أتى وحده. أولها الصحيح وهو ما اتصل إسناده ولم يشد أو يرويه عدل ثابت عن مثله معتمد في ضبطه ونقله. والحسن المعروف ذوقا وغدت رجاله لا كصحيح اشتهرت. وكل ما عن رتب خسر فهو ضعيف وهو أقسام كثر. وما أضيف للنبي مرفوع وما لتابع هو مقطوع. والمسند متصل إسناده من راويه حتى المصطفى ولم يبن. وما بسمع كل راو فمتصل إسناده للمصطفى ولم يبن.
فالمتصل
مسلسل قل ما على حسب أتى والله
مثل أما
والله أنبأني الفتى كذاك قد حدثنيه قائما أو بعد حدثني تبسما. عزيز مروي اثنين أو ثلاثة مشهور مروي فوق مع الثلاثة. معنعن كعن سعيد كعن كرم. ومبهم ما لم يسم راوي.
ومبهم ما فيه
لم يسم ما فيه راوي لم يسم.
وكل
ما على رتب أتى.
وكل ما قلت
رجاله على وضده ذاك الذي قد نزل. ومرسل فما أضفت للسحاب فهو موقوف زك. ومرسل ما لم
منه الصحابي
سقط.
وقل غريب
ما روى راوي فقط.
وكل ما لم يتصل بحالي إسناده منقلب أوصال. والمعضل ساقط منه اثنان.
ومعضل ساقط منه اثنان.
وما
أتى مدلسا نوعان.
ما شاء الله، أحسنت وبارك الله فيكم. May Allah bless you. وأن يجعلكم جميعا من أئمة ومن علماء هذا الدين. Allah make you all يا إخوان from the imams and the people of knowledge of this religion. لا بد من المراجعة يا إخوان. It's a must that we make مراجعة. وهذا صعب جدا في حياة العبد. And that's difficult يا إخوان to take time to review in our lives. فعندنا المدرس أو مدارس وعندنا جامعات وعندنا العيال وعندنا النساء والأولاد وأمور الدنيوية. It's difficult يا إخوان. We have school and we have university. We have families. We have women and children. We have the issues of the dunya. فعلينا أولا بالدعاء. First we have to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ثانيا علينا بالإخلاص. Then secondly we have to be sincere. لا ينجو طالب العلم البتة بدون الإخلاص. No student of knowledge is going to be successful, it's going to be victorious without sincerity. Without sincerity. فعلينا أن نرمي المال على جنب. So we have to put wealth to the side. والشهرة and fame على جنب. والرياسة والمنصب and status and positions and titles. فكل هذا لا يساوي شيء عند الله. None of the likes of that equal to anything in the sight of Allah سبحانه وتعالى. إذا تستلم مالا هذا جائز. إذا تستلم منصبا جائز. تستلم ماذا؟ شهرة جائز. لكن الفرق من الاستسلام والطلب. من الاستسلام والطلب. If you obtain some wealth, you obtain some position, some title, some status, that's allowed. But it's a difference from obtaining something and seeking it. There's a difference, ikhwan, from getting money, getting a title, getting the key to the masjid and the likes, or seeking that, seeking status. فأكثر من طلاب العلم اليوم خاصة في أمريكا علينا أن نذكر أنفسنا بالإخلاص. Most of the students of knowledge of today, especially in America, we have to remind ourselves of sincerity. We have to remind ourselves of sincerity. قال الشخص, one of the brothers, he says, how do the Somalian brothers and sisters memorize so well? علينا نسألهم. We have to ask them, ya ikhwan. So the brother asks, how does the Somalians from the students of knowledge, the men and women, memorize so well? نقول أولا ليس هم فقط وهم والعرب والإفريقون وغيرهم. نعم لكن الصوماليون كذلك. الصوماليون كذلك. So I would say first, before we allow our brothers from Somal to reply if they like, not just the Somalians, but we say the Arab, and we say the African, the Pakistanis, the Indians. Many of them memorize well, but the Somalians are known to memorize. Likewise, the Mauritanians from Mauritania, they are known to memorize also, ya ikhwan. And many other countries that we're forgetting at this moment who are known to memorize, ya ikhwan. كان عندنا شيخ من موريتانيا. There was a sheikh from Mauritania. فذهب وسافر إلى مصر. So he traveled to Egypt. فزار بعض الجامعات. So he visited some of the universities there. فقال ما شاء الله عندنا نحن نفس دروس. عندنا دروس كما عندكم دروس. لكن الفرق نحن نحفظها في الليل. نحن نحفظها في الليل. So the sheikh says, MashaAllah, he was impressed by the lessons in Egypt, at the universities. He said, Alhamdulillah, we also have similar classes in our country. The difference is that we memorize them at night. Y'all study them in the day, we memorize them at night. يا إخوان. طيب, فما يساعد العبد في الحفظ. So what aids a person upon memorization? Who wants to answer, يا إخوان?
Repetition.
التكرار, repeating and repeating and repeating, يا إخوان. وهذا مهم, and that's important, يا إخوان. أحيانا علينا مثلا بدلا من أن نأخذ شيئا جديد أن نراجع. Sometimes in classes seeking knowledge, instead of, for example, learning something new, we have to sometimes take time to go over and go over and go over and go over. والمراجعة يا إخوان من رأس طلب العلم. Going over the information is at the head of seeking knowledge. Is at the head of seeking knowledge. طيب. وأمر آخر, what's another thing that helps upon memorization يا إخوان?
Listening.
الاستماع, listening, هذا مهم. أحيانا ننسى يا إخوان أهمية الاستماع إلى الشخص أو الأشرطة أو الشيخ أو إمام أو من طلاب أخرى, من طلاب آخر أو آخرون, من طلاب آخرين. Likewise, we forget sometimes the importance of listening to someone. You recite, I'll listen. Or listening to a sheikh, or an imam, or even an audio, a recording. Sometimes we forget the importance of listening. That's why we advise the students, ya ikhwan, to take a partner, or two or three. يساعد بعضهم بعضا. And each one of them aids the other. Each one aids the other. هذا مهم. That's from seeking knowledge. قال بعض العلماء كان النبي يراجع مع جبريل وهذا الصحيح. Some scholars used to say the Prophet used to make muraja'a with Jibril عليه الصلاة والسلام. And that's correct يا إخوان. فإذا كان للنبي عليه الصلاة والسلام أن يراجع وهو نبي وأنزل عليه الوحي فما بال نحن. If the Prophet of Allah used to make muraja'a, if that's the case, he used to go over the ayat with Jibril alayhi salatu salam, and he's the Prophet of Allah, how much more so us? How much more so us? So we have to take time للمراجعة. وأنا أتكلم إلي نفسي أولا وكأنكم تستمعون وهذه نصيحة لي. So here, this advice is for myself firstly, ya ikhwan, and perhaps you brothers are just there listening, but this is advice to myself firstly. علينا أن نأخذ وقتا للمراجعة. We have to take time to make a review. كلنا ننسى أحيانا. All of us forget from time to time. لكن المراجعة تثبت المعلومات في الذهن. But making muraja'a, it helps the things that you're going over, it helps them become more grounded and more rooted. طيب. وشيء آخر, something else that helps على الحفظ, upon memorization.
الصبر.
أحسنت, الصبر, patience. أحيانا عند طالب المنهج في الحفظ لكن ما عنده صبر, فيظن أن هذا المنهج لا ينفعه لكن فيما بعد. Sometimes the students of knowledge, he's memorizing, he has a methodology, a way that he goes about it, but he doesn't have no patience. So he thinks, this way is not benefiting me. It is, but he didn't give it a chance. He's writing the words 100 times, for example. He's coming across the ayat or the hadith or the new Arabic words, he writes them. And then ما عنده صبر, he doesn't have any patience. فضاع هذا المنهج. So he leaves that methodology. يظن أن هذه الكتابة الآيات والحديث والكلمات الجديدة لا ينفعه, لكن ينفعه فيما بعد. So while he's writing the ayat and he's writing the hadith and he's writing the new words, he loses his patience. It takes time to write. It's easier to recite it. It takes time to write the page out. It's longer. It takes time to write the hadith out 50 times. One hadith, 50 times? Yes, that takes time. 100 words, you want me to write each word 25 times? Yes, takes time. So he gives up that methodology, thinking it's not beneficial. It is beneficial, but he wasn't patient enough. It would have benefited him later on. Look at the ayat that you write, as opposed to the ayat you just memorize. I guarantee you the ayats that you wrote are still with you. Look at the hadith that you memorized. أنا من المؤمنين أبي حفص رضي الله عنه إلى آخر هذا الحديث. Look at the hadith you wrote and memorized from writing them over and over. They're still with you. Some of the benefits I wrote, I can recall them. Some of the ones I memorized by listening to the Shaykh, ذهب عني, they left. وهذا يدل على أهمية الكتابة المعلومات تثبت في الذهن. And this shows the importance of writing it down. It makes the knowledge firm. I challenge any of you to write whatever you're memorizing, whatever you're going over from the Quran and the Hadith, write them. I guarantee you, it makes it more firm. After a while, you can see the page. That's how much you wrote it, for example. You know the next ayat is at the next page. You can see it. That's how much you wrote it. Likewise the Hadith. Likewise the new words. It takes longer to write. I remember I had a companion, Sadiqi, one of my beloved brothers, لا أذكر اسمه, I won't mention his name يا إخوان. هو سألني سؤالا لا بأس به. He asked me a question that's okay. قال كيف أنت تحفظ? He said, how do you memorize? فأنا أفعل شيئا كما يفعله الصغار في المدارس. I said, I try to do what the children do in the schools. أنا أكتب كثيرا. I said, I have to write it. I write a lot. He says, how do you learn your vocabulary? I said, أنا أكتب كل كلمة جديدة 100 مرة. I said, I write every new word, whether it's in the ayat or the hadith or in the books of the ulama or in Arabic language. If it's new to me, I write it 100 times. I still write it 100 times. He says, هذا كثير أنا لا أفعل هذا. He said, that's a lot. I'm not doing that. I said, you asked me, Akhi. At any rate, your methodology may not work for someone else. Some people are auditory. They have to hear it. Some people are nadariyan, visual. They have to see it. Some people, مثلا أنا علي أن أكتبه. I have to write it. إذا أنا لا أكتبه يكون صعبا لي أن أحفظه. If I don't write it, it's going to be hard for me just to memorize it like that. I have to write it. If I write it, usually I have it, but I have to write it. Some of the ulama of the past were the opposite. Al-Shafi, Ahmad, Bukhari, مثلا Ibn Taymiyyah, ما شاء الله. إذا سمع شيئا مرة واحدة إمام مالك حفظه حفظا راسخ. Al-Shafi was different, Bukhari was different, Ahmad was different, Ibn Taymiyyah was different, An-Nawawi was different, Shawkani was different. If they heard it one time, they memorized it. There's a famous story that some scholars ضعفها التي تتعلق بالبخاري, that's connected to Bukhari. Some scholars say this is weak. It has some weak issues in the chain. Some say no, it's Hasan. زار البخاري إمام أحمد أو غيره من العلماء في مصر. Bukhari visited perhaps Imam Ahmad in Egypt or another scholar. والطلاب حاولوا أن يخلطوا الأسانيد والمتون لكل حديث. So the students, they wanted to play a game. Some people say it was a game. Some people say they just wanted to check his memory. Because Bukhari, they heard about him, his exceptional memory, mashallah, impeccable memory. So some students, some scholars say they wanted to trick him, play a game. Some say no, they didn't have an evil intent. They just wanted to check his memory. So they say, hey, نخلط الحديث. Let's change the hadith up. ندعو هذا السند لهذا المتن وهذا المتن لهذا السند لمئة حديث. They said we're going to give him 100 hadith. You can imagine a test, 100 hadith, no writing, no iPad, no Google, no Siri. طيب, what does Siri stand for, يا أخوان? من يعلم? Who knows? I don't know.
It doesn't stand.
Doesn't stand for anything? طيب, we have to make an acronym for Siri, inshallah. طيب, at any rate, no Siri, no Google. They said, let's give him 100 hadith, but we're going to change the chains. We're going to switch them. Put this metin with this chain, and this chain with this metin. So the first man came. طيب, ما رأيك في هذا الحديث يا بخاري? What do you think, Bukhari, about this hadith? But they changed it. They twisted it up. He says, ما سمعت هذا الحديث قبله. He said, I never heard the hadith before. Second man came. ما رأيك في هذا الحديث يا بخاري? What do you think about this hadith, Bukhari? They changed it. قال ما سمعت هذا الحديث أبدا. ما سمعت به. He said, I never heard of that hadith either. All the way, each man gave 10 hadith. It was 10 men. Each man gave 10. He got to the third man, he gave his 10. What do you think about this hadith, Bukhari? Switched him. His fourth, switched him. Fifth, switched him. Bukhari, ما سمعت به. I never heard of that one. Fadl, never heard of that one. Hat, never heard of that one. The 100th hadith. Bukhari, what do you say about this hadith? He switched it up. ما سمعت به. Never heard of the likes of these hadith, يا إخوان. So one of the men said, لا أنت بخاري سمعنا أن فيك حفظا تاما راسخا ولا تعرف أي حديث منا ذكرنا 100 حديثا لا تعرف حديثا واحدا منه ومنها. They said, Bukhari, we thought we heard you have this impeccable memory. We gave you 100 hadith. You never heard of none of them? Not one? He says, no, I never heard of none of them. He said, however, and then he does something you're never going to see ever. هذا لعله من الخيال. Perhaps you're going to think it's imaginary. That didn't happen. It's impossible. هو الحق. It happened. Bukhari said, however, هذا الحديث الأول. Now he's going to go from the first hadith, second hadith, 81st hadith, 82nd, 98, 99, 100, without making no error. He said, but the hadith, your first hadith you mentioned, is actually, it should be this hadith. The second hadith you mentioned, it should be this wording. The third hadith you mentioned, it should be this wording. The 21st hadith that you mentioned, it should be like this. The 40th hadith that you said from beginning to end, and they were amazing. لا وقال بعض العلماء أن هذا من حفظ الله تعالى على الإسلام. حفظ الدين بشيئين، بحفظ الله تعالى وبإرسال الله تعالى مثل هذا الإمام، مثل هذا al-Imam. Some scholars of knowledge, they say this is from the ways Allah preserved this religion. It was preserved by two ways. One, by Allah. Allah preserving it. Two, by Allah sending men in Islam like Abu Hurairah and Abu Bakr and Aisha and Ahmad and Bukhari, Ibn Taymiyyah, Ashokani, scholars that preserve what's false or what's authentic, what's sunnah from what's bid'ah, in their knowledge. In their knowledge. Imam Shafi was similar. كان الشافعي رحمه الله تعالى إذا يدخل السوق يغطي أذنيه خائفا أن لا يحفظ ماذا يسمع. الشافعي memory was so impeccable. He used to close his ears when he went into the marketplace, not to hear the music and the gossip and the speech of the people. As if he heard it, he would memorize it. Imam Malik عندما يحفظ من المصحف كان يغطي الصفحة الثانية حتى لا يخلط بينها. Imam Malik, such a memory, when he's memorizing from the mushaf, he would cover the second page, because if he looked at it, he would memorize it, not to confuse the pages. Impeccable memorizations, ya ikhwan. Abu Hurairah, Aisha, Anas, similar before them. Ibn Taymiyyah, mashallah, one of his enemies said about him a strange statement, ya ikhwan. لأنه من عدوه, because it came from an enemy. في الأغلبية الأعداء لا يمدح شخصا. في الأغلب, usually your enemies don't say anything good about you. Your enemies, the people who are against me, they're not going to say, oh, he's a good guy, he's a this, he's a that. No, they're your enemies. This enemy used to praise Ibn Taymiyyah, because the scholars of back in the day were not like the scholars of today, or the students of knowledge of today. كانوا ولو ضد الشخص يتكلم فيه بالحق. Even though they was against someone, they still gave you his right. That's in the past. Those times are gone. Now, if I don't like you, I don't have nothing good to say. You're this, you're racist, you're this, you're that. That's nowadays. Even if he's not black, yeah, you black, you used to be black. That's nowadays. He's short, you're short, you're never going to grow, mashallah. That's nowadays. We go in on each other. You hate to see Muslims argue nowadays. We argue like the non-Muslims. May Allah help us. Back in the day, even if I don't like you, I'm going to give you your right. I'm only going to speak about the truth about you. So this man, نسيت اسمه, forgot his name, يا إخوان, الكامولاني رحمه الله تعالى, كان ضد شيخ الإسلام. He was against Ibn Taymiyyah. This is from his enemy, يا إخوان. You're going to be amazed. He says, رحمه الله تعالى, Ibn Taymiyyah. He said Ibn Taymiyyah was a man, إذا يتكلم في علم أو من العلم يظن الرائي أو السامع أنه لا يستطيع أن يتكلم في أي علم إلا هذا العلم حتى يتكلم في علم آخر. He said that when Ibn Taymiyyah spoke about any science of Islam, you name the science, من العلم, when he spoke about any science of Islam, the one looking at him or the one listening to him would think this is the only science he could talk like that in. When he talked about hadith, you would say, hey, he's a specialist in hadith, and only hadith. Until he talked about something else. And then he said, no, this is his specialty. Until he talked about something else. Every science he talked about, the people listening, the people looking would think he's a specialist in that science only. When he talked about tafsir, you would say, no, this is his science. He can't talk like this in any other science. He's a specialist in tafsir. حتى يتكلم في علم آخر. Until he spoke about another science. When he talked about fiqh, they would say, no. Tafsir wasn't his science. Fiqh was his science. And then he talked about the Arabic language. No, it wasn't tafsir. It wasn't fiqh. Arabic is his specialty. He was like that in every science. The humbling thing was, this came from who? An enemy of his. Usually an enemy has nothing good to say about you. Nothing. He was an enemy of him. But look how he's praising him. Back in the day, you're still going to give somebody their right. I don't like him, but he was kind to me. He's a good brother. He's not going to curse. He has good character. I don't like him though. I'm against him. However, that was in the day, back in the day. Nowadays, it's no holds barred. I don't like you. Oh, every fault I've ever seen of you, I'm going to mention, that's not from Islam, ya ikhwan. May Allah help us. What's another thing that helps upon memorization? How do Somalians and the Indonesians and the Afghans and the Yemenis, how do they memorize so well? It's another quality, another action that helps upon memorization.
Use it.
أحسنت. تطبيق العلم وهذا أصعب شيء وأنفع شيء. This is the most difficult of seeking knowledge, but it's the most beneficial. To use the knowledge that you have. أنت تحفظ من كتاب الله، تحفظ من حديث النبي، تحفظ من الفقه ومن لغة العربية. عليك أن تطبق هذه الآية، أن تطبق هذا الحديث، أن تطبق هذا علم الفقه وهكذا. You're studying the Quran, you're studying the hadith, you're studying al-fiqh, you're studying the Arabic language, whatever you're studying, to work by it. You learn this ayah, work by it, if you can work by it. Not every ayat you can work by. Some ayats are about belief. If you can work by it, work by it. Not every hadith you can work by. Some hadith about belief. Some hadith about Yawm al-Qiyamah. If you can work by it, work by it. It's one of the best ways to help and the most difficult to help upon seeking knowledge. That you work by your knowledge. نحفظ حديثا في فضل ركعتي بين الأذان والإقامة أو بين الإقامة والأذان علينا نطبقه. We learn a hadith that shows the virtues of making dua, praying to raka'ah between the adhan and the iqamah, between the adhan and the iqamah. So we have to work by it. You want to be a student of knowledge that works by his knowledge. And يجمع بين الحفظ والعمل بين حلقات العلم والعمل. You want to be a student of knowledge. May Allah make us true students of knowledge that joins together between memorizing, studying, and working. You don't just want to work, and don't seek knowledge. No. You don't want to just learn, and don't work. No. You want to do both. You learn, implement. You learn, you implement. What's something else that can help upon seeking knowledge? What about companionship? And يصاحب الطالب طلابا أخرى أو طلابا آخرين. Another benefit that many of us leave off. The person wants to be a student of knowledge. He accompanies those who are students of knowledge. Want to be strong in memorization? Accompany those who are strong in memorization. For example, you try to implement them. You see that brother, mashallah, he's going over the Quran every day, 2 hours. You have 2 hours, try to implement that. For example, he stays up at night 2 hours. Try to do that. Try to get in his circle to see what he does. For example, how do you memorize, ya akhi? I only eat fish. That may help. I don't have any knowledge to say that helps. لعله يساعده. Perhaps that helps, يا أخوان. بعض الناس يظنون أن الربيع يساعد في الحفظ. لعل الله أعلم. Some scholars, they say that raisins and dates and the likes help with memorization. Perhaps, Allah Alam. Some people say that. Ibn Qayyim in his book, he brings in the Tip al-Nabawi, the prophetic cure, that chocolate gives you energy. Chocolate, dark chocolate, gives you strength. Sometimes people are tired all the time. Sometimes they weaken iron. Their iron is low. At any rate, there are many things that help. Also being in the company of students of knowledge helps. You're going to find لا ينامون كثيرا وهذا مشكلة كبيرة. You're going to find that the true students of knowledge, the true who are focused on memorization, they don't sleep a lot. They don't sleep a lot. قال بعض الناس كم وقتا ينام الشخص في حياته. Some people, they say, how much does a person sleep in his life? How much?
A third.
Some people say a third. إذا نتصور هذا ثلث من حياتنا يا إخوان بقيناه في النوم ونعوذ بالله. If you look at it, the average person sleeps 8 to 10 hours. The average, 8 to 10 hours. Right? That's a third of your life. You only get 24 hours a day. We sleep 10 of them. That's 8 to 10 every day. You do the math. That's almost a third of our life. The man is 60. What's a third of 60? He slept 20 years. Sometimes you don't imagine. The man is 60 years old. He spent 60 of these years sleep. Just imagine, this is why we're ignorant. This is why the whole world is passing us by. This is why we sit on the same surah, the same ayah, same hadith. Year after year after year, we're still arguing about the same. Some of the brothers back home, when I see them, I know everything he's about to say. Because they've been saying it year after year after year after year after year after year. So
what about people who say like you need full 8 hours of sleep?
some people say that. Some doctors say that.
Yeah.
If you sleep 8 or 10 hours a day, you're never going to be a memorizer. I guarantee you.
Will like shorter sleep affect your memory and stuff?
Some doctors say that. Some doctors say that, ikhwan. Some doctors say the sisters that cover their face are harming themselves because they need a certain amount of vitamin D from the sun. Some doctors say that. Doesn't mean it's true. Doesn't mean it's not true. Some doctors say that if you don't get 10 hours of sleep, your brain is going to this and this and this. No problem. That's what they say. There are many cases that contradict that. Many of the great imams used to sleep a few hours a day. The great imams, Bukhari, Ahmed, they didn't sleep 10 hours a day, ikhwan. They didn't sleep like that. And their mind was intact. Yes, you got to give your body its rights. If it's time to sleep, sleep. But if you sleep 10 hours every day, I guarantee you, you're weak in memorization. What's my proof? That's a third of your life. In sports, we can do it. Somebody who wants to be LeBron James in كرة السلة, Michael Jordan في كرة السلة, أتمنى أنه لا ينام ثلث حياته. I guarantee you, that little boy who's trying to be Michael Jordan, trying to be Kobe Bryant, I guarantee you, he doesn't sleep a third of his life. Kobe Bryant himself, you read his diligence, you will hope he was Muslim. I wish the way he woke up and shot hoops and worked out and went to sleep for 2 hours and woke back up and then shot hoops again and took another nap for a half hour. I wish he was Muslim and took away basketball and replaced it with Quran and Sunnah. Allahu Akbar. You look at what he used to do, mashallah. He had a wife and kids. He would wake up 3 in the morning and go up 2 hours in the gym every day. And then go back to sleep and then have breakfast. And then wake up and go lift weights. And then hang out with his kids. And then go back to the gym again for another 2 hours. And then do 4 hours of practice every day. I hope he was Muslim and replaced that with Quran and Sunnah in Arabic. Just imagine, ya ikhwan. Just imagine. We had a brother in Yemen. Strong brother. لا ينام حتى بعد الفجر. Allahu Akbar. كل ليل. He didn't sleep until after Fajr. Every day. Every day. So he was asked, لماذا هذا منهجك? The people said, why is this your methodology? Why don't you sleep? Go to sleep, ya akhi. He would stay in the masjid or stay home wherever he was at, up, memorizing. You would hear him like a bee, memorizing. He said, I'm weak. I'm older. I became Muslim later on. I had to catch back up. While everybody is asleep, that's 8-10 hours I got. Just memorizing. He said, I sleep in my grave. We had a sheikh in Yemen, Abu al-Fida Ma'mar al-Qadisi. لا يرى نائما لا نعرف متى ينام والله أعلم. This Sheikh Abu Fida Ma'mar al-Qadisi, he wasn't the biggest Sheikh we had, but he probably benefited me the most in my life. I was the closest to him, for example. You never saw him sleep. We don't know when, we used to call him the Bionic Sheikh. I don't know when he used to sleep, ya ikhwan. He would go up after Isha for 2 hours. If you came back to the masjid, he will be in the masjid. Go making muraja'ah, learning, seeking knowledge, giving a small class. If you came to the masjid right before Fajr, before the masjid opens, he's in the masjid. You came in the masjid before Dhuhr, right before Dhuhr, he's in the masjid. You came in the masjid right before Asr, he's in the masjid. He said, Sheikh, when do you sleep? He said, Anamu fil qabr. He said, I'll sleep in my grave. We know he slept. He has to sleep. But when? You never saw him sleeping. We used to call him the Bionic Sheikh. They say a Sudais makes muraja'ah. This was years ago. They say he will go over 10 ajazah of Quran every day from his memory. Every day. Our Sheikh Yahya in Yemen, when he was leaving his house, he had like a little house at the village years ago before it got blown up by those evil people there. Coming from his house to the masjid, they say he will recite a juz of Quran. Walking. That's how serious these people were about learning. These are the people of today. What about the people of the past? Bukhari used to walk بلدا إلى بلد لحديث واحد. He used to walk. No BMW, no car, no hisan, no horse. Walking. Walking, ya ikhwan. From country to country to get a hadith. No iPad. Imagine if Bukhari had an iPad. He memorized 200,000 hadith without technology. Imagine he can carry his library under his arm. Everywhere he goes, Allahu Akbar. At any rate, from country to country. Abu Hurairah صاحب النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام على ملء بطنه ليحفظ كل ما يقول النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام. Abu Hurairah chose to give up his dunya. Somebody may say that's extreme. Somebody may say that's ignorance. Somebody may say. No problem. That's not our Islam, ya ikhwan. We can argue that another time. He gave up his dunya in order to be around the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam to memorize what he was saying. These are these great imams. This is why we can do what we can do nowadays. From the likes, firstly, Allah's mercy. Secondly, the likes of these great men. Memorizing. Ibn Taymiyyah, most of his books he wrote from his memory. A man came to him and said, Ya Shaykh, اكتب لي عقيدة أهل السنة والجماعة. قال يوجد من غيري. قال أنا أريد واحد منك. أو كما قال. A man came to Ibn Taymiyyah and said, Ibn Taymiyyah, I want you to write me an aqidah of Ahl Sunnah wa Jama'ah. He said, it's already scholars who wrote that. It's already out. The man said, no, I want one from you. You write it. He said, wait right there. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Min hifdh. And he wrote it from his memory. Aqidah Wasatiyah. Between Dhuhr and Asr. Or Asr and Maghrib. Between two prayers. When you see the book, it's nothing but ayat, hadith. Aqidah Wasatiyah, hopefully it'll be our second book on Aqidah. One of the best books to memorize in Aqidah. All you memorizing is ayat. One of the best books to learn. We're not saying he's infallible. We're not saying that. We don't agree with Ibn Taymiyyah in everything. His student didn't agree with him in everything. But most of the stuff he said, you find that he was right. What was the criticism against Ibn Taymiyyah? Something that we wished he didn't have. Wallahu alam, if it's allowed to say that.
Was it that he wasn't organized?
Not that he wasn't organized, but
He wrote too much.
not that he worked too much. It's close.
Like his disposition.
Hey, he was harsh. Some scholars say this about Ibn Hazm, that he was harsh. Sometimes you have a harsh demeanor. Some people say this about Umar. He was harsh. The man بال في جامع النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام. ماذا قال عمر? The man urinated in the masjid of the Prophet. What did Umar say? Let me kill him. Let me take his that's how Umar was. He was just strong, mashallah. It looks like he didn't mean no harm. Sometimes you pray and the brother's just so strong, you line up shoulder to shoulder and foot to foot, and he bumps you. And you, oh, yeah. How fun, yeah. He didn't mean that, but he has that shiddah, that strength. That happens. Not on purpose. Umar was like that. So they say about Ibn Taymiyyah, one of the things that they wish that would attract more people to the sunnah. Most of the people that was against him, that was one thing that they used against him. He was harsh. He was harsh. Some people say that. At any rate, that appeared to be his natural disposition. He used to yagharu ala Islam. He used to get angry and have jealousy for the religion. When he got out of jail, the ruler came to get him out of jail, and the new ruler, and asked him, what do you want us to do with the people who harmed you? He said, I don't want no bloodshed to be on my account. I'll pardon them. I forgive them. It's hard to forgive someone that did you wrong. He usabihuhu, I forgive them. He said, except those that I was against them for religion. If it was something religiously, that's different. Their accounts with Allah. Someone who harmed me personally, I forgive them. I forgive them. That's hard to do, ya akhwa. Someone smacks you, you say, I forgive you. Especially if you can fight them. That's hard to do. That's hard. At any rate, so these are a few things that are recommended with regards to seeking knowledge. May Allah bless you all, ya ikhwan. Like there are some great imams, some great memorizers, ya ikhwan, especially of the past. There are some up today, but not equal to the scholars in the past, ya ikhwan. Not even close. Ibn Taymiyyah was a great scholar, so much so that he memorized almost everything, ya ikhwan. Shafi was similar. No. طيب نكتفي بهذا واستعد يا اخوان. من يريد ان يؤذن? Who wants to call the adhan tonight? May Allah bless you all, ya ikhwan. We have some shirts also if somebody wants to, some hoodies, ya ikhwan, in the hallway, inshallah ta'ala. May Allah bless you all. We have to get some for the children, inshallah. Our next bundle is going to be for the kids and for the sisters, inshallah ta'ala, if they want to get some with our school name on there, inshallah ta'ala.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا